Hello everyone. This lesson is on pronouns. Before I share these first four examples, I just want to remind you that pronouns are different than nouns. And this is something that I will be explaining to you throughout this lesson. I would also like to say that it is possible to have sentences with more than one pronoun. So these first four examples just have one pronoun in them. But it's definitely possible to have more than one pronoun, so just keep that in mind. So these first four examples, let me just read them to start off with. A. He is never late for class. B. She is very cute. C. It is beautiful, especially in the spring. D. It was renovated last summer. So I've used the pronouns he, she, and I've used it in two sentences here. Now, if we take another look at this, you can see that I was thinking of nouns. Before I used the pronouns, I was thinking of certain nouns. So when I was thinking of he, I was thinking of someone named Mr. Smith. Right? He is never late for class. Mr. Smith is never late for class. But I've crossed off Mr. Smith here because I wanted to use a pronoun instead of a noun. So pronouns can be used instead of nouns. So instead of using Mr. Smith, which is a proper noun, right? That's the specific name of a person. I'm using the word he. I'm using the pronoun he. B. Here, I was thinking of my cat. My cat's name is Squeaky. So instead of saying Squeaky is very cute, I've decided to say she is very cute. C. I was thinking of British Columbia. And you could think of any place, right? It wouldn't have to even be specific. It doesn't have to be a proper noun either. You know, British Columbia is a proper noun. Toronto is a proper noun. Thunder Bay is a proper noun. You could think of a common noun, right? You could say the garden is beautiful, especially in the spring. But I didn't use a noun. I used it. I used the pronoun it. It is beautiful, especially in the spring. Okay, last here. The kitchen was renovated last summer, or at least that's what I was thinking in my head. But instead of the common noun, I used the pronoun. I said it was renovated last summer. So that's what I mean by using pronouns instead of nouns. Maybe you're thinking of a person, place, or thing in your mind, and you use a pronoun instead. Another thing to remember here is that if you were, let's say you were writing a story or a letter, or you were explaining something to somebody, and you're talking about a certain person or a certain place, use the noun first. So let's say we're talking about the kitchen and how it was renovated, right? I might say something like, do you like the kitchen? It was renovated last summer. So you see how I mention what I'm talking about first, and then I use the pronoun after. So that's important to do so that the person you're talking to or the person who's reading your writing doesn't get confused. This time, let's fill in the blanks with some pronouns. I wanted to give you a chart to help out. Of course, this chart does not have all of the pronouns, but it does give you an idea of singular pronouns and plural pronouns. Singular pronouns would be used if you have just one person or one thing. Plural pronouns are used if you have more than one person or more than one thing. So just as an example, right, we might look at someone doing something. We don't know who that person is unless we use their name, but if we use their name, then we're using a proper noun instead of a pronoun, and that would be singular. But if we talked about, instead of saying someone, if we talked about everyone, then we would be talking about a group of people. Now we could list all their names, but it's a lot easier just to say everyone. Or we could say something like the whole community, right? But if we're using a pronoun instead of a noun, then we want to use the word everyone. Alright, so let's fill in these blanks here. Sentence 1, and I've started off with nouns, so here's sentence 1 with just nouns in it. Even though the weather was cold, the children still had fun. So we're talking about the weather and we're talking about the children. So I used some pronouns instead. I said, even though it was cold, they still had fun. So instead of the weather, I used it, and instead of the children, I used they. So this is another example of a singular pronoun and a plural pronoun, right? We've got it is singular, just the weather, just one thing, and they to go with the children. It's more than one child, maybe a group of children maybe. Number 2, should Diane and Gary clean the car? So instead of Diane and Gary, I'll use they. Right? It's more than one person. It's a plural pronoun. And instead of the car, I'll use it. Should they clean it? Last one. The book is Frank's, so please give the book back to Frank. Oh, I think it'll sound better with pronouns, probably. Pronouns also help prevent you from repeating words. So, let's use pronouns here. It is his, so please give it back to him. So I changed the book into it, right? The book is Frank's, it is his. Please give the book back to Frank. Please give it back to him. And if we look at Frank's, F-R-A-N-K apostrophe S. That apostrophe S shows that the book belongs to him. It shows belonging. It shows possession. Apostrophes are used to show possession or belonging. And a possessive pronoun is his. It is his. Which is different than saying, please give the book back to Frank. Please give it back to him. So there's different types of pronouns too. And I don't want to make this video too complicated. But any WASA students watching this, if you'd like to know more information, feel free to contact me. Here's one more set of practice sentences, just to give you some more examples. Let's look at these one at a time. I look at sentence 1. Someone should tell him where the yard sale is. So I've underlined someone and him. That could be anyone. Someone could be anyone. Someone is a singular pronoun. Someone should tell him. Him is another pronoun. Someone should tell him where the yard sale is. Number 2. This cat is kind of ugly, but that kitten is cute. So we've got this and that for pronouns. This would be something that's right in front of you or really close by that you're looking at the moment that you're talking about it. But that would be something that was maybe over someplace else, or that you're comparing something else to, right? So we're comparing a cat with a kitten, right? This cat versus that kitten. You could compare two cats if you wanted. This cat versus that cat. This cat is kind of ugly, but that kitten is cute. Number 3, will you buy these jeans or do you want those jeans over there? Notice we've got jeans, right? Which is plural, right? So, and we could have, instead of jeans, we could have books, right? If you have more than one book, we could have books, right? And we'd say, will you buy these books or do you want those books over there? We could use books instead of jeans. It doesn't matter. Either way, we're using these or those. And I also underlined the pronoun you. So I've got you, these, you, those underlined in this sentence. So these is a plural pronoun, and so is those. So these would be, again, close by, right in front of you, and those would be further away, or it would be what you're comparing it to, right? These are those. Number 4, their house is old, but they are fixing it up. So I've underlined their, they, and it. Now, be careful here. The there that I underlined, T-H-E-I-R, as in the house that belongs to them. That's how you use the word their, T-H-E-I-R. Their house is old, but they are fixing it up. And it refers to their house, right? So instead of saying the word house again, I use the pronoun it. So their, T-H-E-I-R, is different than their, T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E. Let me use it in a sentence. Number 5. They're glad that he is teaching himself to read. T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E. It's like saying they are glad that he is teaching himself to read. It's a contraction. Their, T-H-E-Y apostrophe R-E, stands for they are. So I underlined their, he, and himself. Last one. I often make myself tea in the wintertime. I underlined I and myself. I wanted to share this example last because the pronoun I is one that a lot of people miss. It isn't obvious, so just remember that the word I is a pronoun. Well, I hope that these notes were helpful, and I look forward to our next lesson.